understandable for everyone. I am Anwar Kalitagol, the leader of this group. In this video, you will know and understand the concept of history, the development of rich Byzantine civilization it will discuss by Donna Zaira D. Gama, and spread of Islam in Asia, in Africa. And it will discuss by Ronaldin Labrador, and lastly the new empires dominate Asia and Africa. It will discuss by Gisame Kablay.
So hello everyone, my topic is all about the development of rich Byzantine civilization. So Byzantine civilization is developed a rich culture based on Roman, Greek, and Christian ideas. So they develop a rich culture based daw sa mga Christian ideas and Greek. So baka na-influensyahan sila kaya they develop a rich culture. So Byzantine Empire, this is the Byzantine Empire, and this is the map where you can locate. So the rise of Byzantine Empire is Eastern Roman Empire or Byzantium rose to existence by the foundation of the city, Constantinople in 324 AD, and the final division to an Eastern and Western Roman Empire did not happen until 395 AD, and it lasted until the year 1453 when the Turks conquered Constantinople. So, how did the Byzantine Empire develop? So, the beginnings of the Byzantine Empire lie in the decision of Roman Emperor Constantine I relocate the capital of the Roman Empire from Rome to Byzantium on 11 May 330 CE. The popular name Constantinople or City of Constantine soon replaced the emperor's own official choice of New Rome. So, the Byzantine civilization, the people of Byzantine became highly educated and creative. They preserved and passed on the Greek culture and Roman law to new generations of scholars. So they gave the world new methods in the realm of arts and creativity. So as we will discuss, they also embraced Christianity and spread the religion to the people of Eastern Europe. So sila yung dahilan kung bakit maraming mga Christian sa Eastern Europe. So what made the Byzantine Empire rich and successful for so long? And why did it finally crumble? So Constantinople sat in the middle of a trade, sea, and land. Its wealth came from trade and its strong military. So this is the reason. And Constantinople remained secure and prosperous while cities and Western Roman Empire crumbles. So this is one of the major Byzantine industries was weaving silk, which developed around 550 CE. At that time, Byzantine travelers smuggled silkworm eggs out of China so they could create their own silk. So, para makabuo sila ng kanila talaga, kailangan silang mag-travel ng silkworm eggs out of China. So, ito yung tsura niya. So, the outcome of their work is this. So, for the karagdagang kaalaman, the language of Byzantine Empire is Greek. Though Byzantium was ruled by Roman law and Roman political institutions and its official language was Latin, Greek was also widely spoken and students receive education in Greek history, literature, and culture. So, the capital city of Byzantine is Constantinople or Byzantium. Greek city on the Bosphorus, capital of the Byzantine Empire, modern Istanbul. So, yung tawag na ngayon is Istanbul. So, Byzantium was an ancient Greek city in classical antiquity that became known as Constantinople in late antiquity and is now commonly known as Istanbul. So, dito nagtatapos ang aking discussion. Hopefully, may natutunan po kayo and thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Renalyn B. Labrador, the reporter for Spread of Islam in Asia and Africa. So, as you have seen the picture, this is the Mecca, the holiest city in Islam and the capital of Makkah province of Saudi Arabia. The expansion of Islam into Asia was solidified with the formation of Ottoman Empire in the 13th century. So, Ottoman Empire was a state that controlled much of southeastern Europe, Western Asia, and Northern Africa between the 14th and early 20th century. This vast empire helped the spread of Islam throughout the world. The Ottomans were extremely tolerant of most religions at the time. Also, much like the Mongols, the Ottoman Empire was dedicated to the jihads against the enemies of Islam. So the word jihad means struggle or striving in the way of God or to work for a noble cause with determination. This fueled the Ottomans' murderous expansion, which led to the conquest of many states and drove the expansion of Islam. Although Islam was not native to the continent of Africa, just like most religions during that time, it spread rapidly once introduced, but this was not the case throughout Africa. Islam didn't initially have a hold on the Berbers, for example. So Berbers proudly called themselves as Amazigh, the free people. It was only when Ibn Yasin instructed them that their commitment to the faith and the cleric's interpretation of the faith began to grow. The growth came in the practice of jihad. So Ibn Yasin was theological founder and first leader of the Almoravid movement and dynasty. In the course of about one generation, the Islam Toma, a nomadic Berber tribe, reconstructed the division formulated by Muhammad between the two worlds and two times. This led to the formation of Dar al-Islam in the northwestern parts of Africa. So these are the different variations of Islam existed within cities. For example, the Swahili cities of Mombasa of Kenya, Kilwa Kisiwani of Tanzania, and Mogadishu of Somalia all implemented the practices of Islam differently without their various communities and classes. about half of the people living in the continent are Muslim, and almost 25% of the Muslims in the world live in Africa. Today, the Northern Africa countries are approximately 94% Muslim. Islam spread in three phases throughout sub-Saharan Africa. The three stages were minority of quarantine, court, and majority phase. So the impact of Islam seems to have been positive in Africa. The teachers had translated the faith of Islam, the Quran. The prayers into the many African dialects throughout the continent on the eastern coast and Swahili Gateway. Muslims started sailing the waterways looking to trade and acquire ivory, gold and other metals, leather goods, and slaves. With wealth in these regions came Islamic elements in the architecture of their homes and their mosques. Scholars and writers adopted the Arabic alphabet and subsequently started producing written literature for the Muslim community in Arabic. Africans rarely made the pilgrimage to Mecca before the 20th century. The wealthier Swahili community was able to instead build local sanctuaries to celebrate their faith. These places of worship were an important substitute, some argue even as important, of the pilgrimage to Mecca. Ultimately, it is apparent that African communities tailored Islam and Muslim life to meet their needs. So, if you will ask, how did Islam spread in Africa? Following the conquest of North Africa by Muslim Arabs in the 7th century CE, Islam spread throughout West Africa via merchants, traders, scholars, and missionaries. That is largely through peaceful means whereby African rulers either tolerated the religion or converted it to it themselves. And how did Islam came to Asia? The first theory is trade. The expansion of trade among West Asia, India, and Southeast Asia helped the spread of the religion as Muslim traders brought Islam to the region. Gujarati Muslims played the pivotal role in establishing Islam in Southeast Asia. The secondary is the role of missionaries or Sufis. So this is for spread of Islam in Asia and Africa. That's all. Thank you.
So, good day everyone. I am the last reporter of Group 4. So, my report is all about new empires dominate Africa and Asia. First, tackle the Africa's great civilizations. First, Kingdom of Kush. By 2000 BCE, the area of South Egypt called Nubia developed extensive trade. Nubians traded ivory, ebony, frankincense, and leopard skin. So, isa sa mga kingdom na tumayo bilang makapangyarihan sa lahat na region ay ang Africa. So, isa sa mga kingdom na makapangyarihan ay ang Kush. In 750 BCE, the Kush conquered Egypt but were overwhelmed by the Assyrians less than 100 years later in 663 BCE. The Kush were still using bronze stones while the Assyrians used iron spears and swords. And source: Assyrians conquered Egypt. So after the Assyrians conquered Egypt, the Kushites returned to their land in India. Kush economics and society. Kush economics was based on farming. They built a capital city in Meroe, which became a trading center. Meroe had a large supply of iron. The Kush were able to make iron weapons they had seen in the Assyrians. So nakagawa ng mga Kushites ng mga iron na nakita nila sa mga Assyrians, which is nagaya nila. They left behind thumbs full of luxury items, demonstrating that they were prosperous and had traded with distant countries. This suggests that there was probably a large trader or merchant class in Kush society. The Kush flourished from about 250 BCE to approximately 150 CE, but declined because of the rise of a new power in the region. Sa kanilang pagkamayaman, though they left behind tubs full of luxury items, so iniwan nila ang kanilang mga luxury items sa mga libingan. The Kush flourished from about 250 BCE to approximately 150 CE, but declined because of the rise of a new power in the region. So this is Meroe. This is the trading center of Kush. Next kingdom is the Aksumite Kingdom or Kingdom of Aksum. South of the Kush was Ethiopia, where the Aksum were located. Aksum emerged as an independent state that combined African and Arabic cultures. They were originally started as an Arab colony. Aksum was prosperous because of its prime location on the Red Sea, which allowed them to trade between India, Mediterranean, and Southern Africa. Dahil nga sa kanilang lokasyon na malapit sa Red Sea, ay nakapagpangalakal napayagang mga lakal sa India, Mediterranean, and Southern Africa. Like the Kush, they exported ivory, spices, and slaves. They imported textiles, metal, goods, wine, and olive oil. In the 4th century CE, King Zana and the Aksumite ruler invaded Kush and conquered it. Around 330 CE, the king converted to Christianity, which was brought to Aksum by Syrians. The king made Christianity the official religion of Aksum. The Aksum kingdom flourished until the rise of Islam, which brought the Arab forces into northern and eastern Africa. So, ang mga pinagmamalaki ng Aksumite ang kanilang religion, which is Christianity. In 641, the Arab forces took control of Egypt. By the 700s, the entire coast of Africa was under the Arab rule. The Muslim trading states lived peacefully with Aksum until the 12th century, when the Muslims started moving inland to Africa. So after the death of King Izana, Aksum was a constant conflict with Muslim states. So this is King Izana. Next kingdom is the Kingdom of Ghana. Ghana was the first great trading state of Western Asia. Ghana emerged around 500 CE and was a series of villages and farmlands organized by strong rulers. The kings of Ghana governed without laws. Instead, they used a well-trained army to enforce their wishes. So, they used well-trained army para maprotektahan ang kanilang kingdom. King based their wealth on the gold and iron trade. Ghana economy and trade. The Ghana kingdom was rich in both iron and gold. They had trained blacksmiths to turn the iron into weapons and tools. The island of Ghana was one of the richest gold-producing areas of all Africa, making it the center of an enormous trade empire. Muslim merchants from North Africa brought textiles, metal goods, horses, and salt, which they exchanged for iron and gold. Salt was a highly desired item for Ghanaians. So, ang salt ang pinaka-highly desired item sa mga Ghanaians dahil ginagamit nila ito to preserve the food and to improve the taste of the food. Ghana also exported ivory, ostrich feathers, hides, and slaves. Many of the trade goods was carried by Berbers, a nomadic people whose caravan became known as fleets across the desert. So, yung mga Berbers, ang sinasabing caravans dito ay yung camel of caravans, which is meron sa next slide. Ghana collapsed in the 1100s, weakened by wars and the competition from the trading societies. So this is Camel Caravans. As you can see there in the picture, the camel caravans made it possible for the people in different regions of Africa to exchange goods and merchandise. It became known as the fleet of the desert, and the camel became a crucial factor in trade across the Sahara. So, camel ang kanilang ginagamit sa mga transportasyon at pagkakarga ng mga goods and merchandise dahil ang camel ay napaka-strong when it comes to desert. In a typical caravan trek, as many as 100 camels would be loaded with goods and supplies for their journey across the desert. Next is the Kingdom of Mali. Mali was established by Sundiata Keita, who defeated the Ghanaians and captured their capital in 1240 CE. Sundiata Keita, the name Sundiata means lion prince. The lion was the symbol of the Keita clan, of which Sundiata was a member. He united the people of Mali under a strong government. Mali's greatest trading was Timbuktu. Mali builds its wealth and power on the gold and salt trade. Reign of Mansa Musa, one of the richest and most powerful kings who ruled Mali from 1312 to 1337. Mansa means king. So Mansa Musa doubled the size of the kingdom and built a strong central government. He divided Mali into provinces ruled by appointed governors. He imported scholars and books into his kingdom. Also, he built the Sankor Mosque in Timbuktu. So this is the Sankor Mosque, one of the ancient centers of learning in Timbuktu. Next empire is the Songhai Empire. In 1009, a ruler named Kosi converted to Islam and established a Jia dynasty. An era of prosperity ensured with Gao as the chief trade center. Under the leadership of Sunni Ali, who created a new dynasty, the Sunni, in 1464. Two of Sunni Ali's conquests, Timbuktu and Jenin, they gave Songhai control of trading empire, especially trading salt and gold that had made Ghana and Mali so prosperous. The Songhai Empire reached the height of its power during the reign of Muhammad Shah. So Muhammad Shah, a military commander who overthrew the son of Sunni Ali. After Muhammad Shah's reign, Songhai entered a period of slow decline. Near the end of the 16th century, the decline weakened when the forces of the Sultan of Morocco occupied much of Songhai. So under the Sultan's rule, Songhai became a dangerous, insecure place with increasing poverty, violence, and distress. So we are here in the Asian world, and we will talk about the different civilizations dominate Asia. First is Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire eventually dominated Asia from the Black Sea to the Korean Peninsula following the initial conquest of its founder Genghis Khan. So as you can see in the picture, he is Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is a Mongolian, and Genghis Khan is a strong ruler. He was elected at a massive meeting somewhere in the Gabi. He set up a capital city at Karakorum. After the death of Genghis Khan in 1227, the empire began to change. The Mongols were a pastoral people formed the region of modern-day Mongolia and were organized loosely into clans. The once united empire of Genghis Khan was thus split into several separate territories called khanates, each under the rule of his sons. In 1231, the Mongols attacked Persia and then defeated the Abbasids at Baghdad in 1258. Mongol forces attacked the Song dynasty in China. By the early 14th century, foreigners employed by the Mongol rulers of China had introduced the use of gunpowder and firearms into Europe. So dito, sinabi ng mga Mongolian noon na si Genghis Khan ay father of their country. So China, under the China is the Ming dynasty. Ming dynasty began with the birth of the Mongols in China in 1368. Apisan's son Hongwu or Zhu Yuanzhang, Hongwu means vast king marshal, commanded the rebel army that drove the Mongols out of China. China extended its rule into Mongolia and Central Asia, and briefly reconquered Vietnam under the Ming emperors. China extended its rule to Mongolia and Central Asia. So, si Hongwu or Zhu Yuanzhang was the founding emperor of Ming Dynasty. Ming Emperor set up a nationwide school system. They completed the Grand Canal on which grain was shipped south of the north in China. So, in this picture, this is Hongwu or Zhu Yuanzhang. And this picture is the Grand Canal. So Grand Canal, the longest canal in the world. Next is the Mir Empire. The Mir Empire was a powerful state in Southeast Asia, formed by people of the same name, lasting from 802 CE to 1431 CE. At its peak, the empire covered much of what today is Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and southern Vietnam. The official name of Mir's empire is Great Empire of Kampuchea. The empire was the Great Contiguous Empire of Southeast Asia, based in what is now Cambodia. The ancient Mir kings adopted the successful monarchy system. Jayavarman II founded the Mir of Cambodian Empire. So, as you can see in the picture, that is the statue of Jayavarman II. Religion and beliefs. The majority of Mir Empire are people who follows the Mir style of Buddhism, which blends elements of Hinduism and spirit worship. The Angkor rules also adopted this idea of god kings, in which the kings were an incarnation of Shiva, a Hindu god who was known as the protector. So, next is the Mir gods. There are 4 Mir gods. First, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahmans, and last is Ganesha. So its role is to destroy the universe in order to create it. Vishnu is the preserver of the universe. Brahmans is the creator of the universe, and Ganesha is the god of elephant. So in additional, Jayavarman II, the statue of Jayavarman II, and he is the outstanding ruler of the Mir Empire. Ottoman Empire. By the 1400s, the once mighty Byzantine Empire had been declined for nearly 2 centuries. They faced a growing threat of Ottoman, a nomadic group that had migrated from Central Asia to Asia Minor. Ottoman Empire was founded at the beginning of 14th century. Its original settlement was in the northwest Anatolia, Asiatic part of the modern Turkey, where it was a small beylik. Its main rival was Byzantine Empire. In 1350s, the Ottomans were able to cross the Dardanelles Strait, and eventually they conquered whole Southeast Europe. Although they mainly concentrated on Europe, they also fought in Asia. So, sinasabi dito na ang dahilan ng paghina ng Byzantine Empire ay dahil din sa malakas na threat ng mga Ottoman. One of the most powerful states in the world during the 15th and 16th centuries, the Ottoman period spanned more than 600 years. Suleiman the Magnificent. You can see in the picture, he is Suleiman the Magnificent, ruled the Ottoman Empire from 1520 to 1566 and strengthened the government and improved the system of justice throughout the empire. The years of Suleiman's rule are considered the golden age of Ottoman history. So Suleiman, he was a sultan and he held absolute power in the Ottoman Empire. So next is the Ottoman society. Ottoman ruled a large area that included many diverse people and religions. Empire consisted of 4 social classes. First, men of pen. Second, men of sword. Third, men of negotiation. And last, the men of husbandry. So men of pen, highly educated scientists, lawyers, judges, and doctors. Men of sword, a military personnel. Men of negotiation, merchants, artisans, and tax collectors. And last, the men of husbandry, farmers, and herders. Sorry, herders po yan. H po, hindi G. So last is the early Japan. The geography of Japan and the rise of Japanese state. First, the geography of Japan. Japan is the chain of many islands. The population is concentrated of four main islands: Hokkaido, the main islands of Honshu, and the two smaller islands of Kyushu and Shikoku. Much of Japan is mountainous. Only about 11% of the total land area can be farmed. The area is prone to earthquakes. In 1923, an earthquake almost destroyed the entire city of Tokyo. Japan has developed a number of unique qualities. The ancestors of modern-day Japanese settled in Yamato Plain near the modern cities of Osaka and Kyoto in the first centuries. This society was made of clans. The people were divided between a small aristocratic class, or the rulers, and a large population of rice farmers, artisans, and household servants. So this is Shotoku Taishi. The early 7th century, a Yamato prince named Shotoku Taishi tried to unify the various clans so that the Japanese could more effectively resist an invasion by the Chinese. So that's all, and thank you.
Commendable. If you're really watching this video, I will give you points on your quiz. I mean, there is possibility that it will come out on your quiz. So this is just a recapitulation based on my group mates report. So let's start by just giving you questions with a multiple choice, and then you will try to answer it based on your stock knowledge upon watching the video. First question is, Islam did not initially have a hold on the blank. I will give you 3 seconds to reverberate. 3, 2, 1. Yes, you're correct. Berbers are the first non-Arabic people to have established an Islamic state. Islam did not initially have a hold on the Berbers. For example, it was only when Ibn Yazid instructed them that their commitment to faith and clerics interpretation of the faiths began to grow. So let's move on to the second questions. One of the major Byzantine industries was blank. 3, 2, 1. Yes, you are correct. One of the major Byzantine industry was hewing silk, which developed around 550 Common Era. At that time, Byzantine travels smuggled silkworm eggs out of China so they could create their own silk. The purpose of this is for just trading. Thank you. Let's move on to the last question. He was elected as a massive meeting somewhere in Gobi and was founder of Mongol Empire. Among the choices, what do you think? 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is also officially Genghis Huangdi, was the founder and first Greek Khan in the Emperor of Mongol Empire, which became the largest contiguous empire in history after his death. That's it. Thank you and have a blast. That's end our reports. Thank you for watching and have a blast for everyone.